Back in February when the Switch was first revealed, I made a pretty large claim. I said that Nintendo hadn't learned from the mistakes of the Wii U, and history would repeat itself if things didn't change. From what I saw in their first presentation and the events leading up to it, they were bound just to ruin everything. They announced policies like no social features, paying for online, not great specs, and they seemed to not advertise the features that actually made the console stand out. Rather than focusing on the portability of the system, initially anyways, Nintendo took a large portion of their presentation to discuss HD Rumble. I saw all these as indicative of a trend that had once spelt doom for the Wii U, even making another video later on talking about how Nintendo could prove me wrong if they went about it the right way. In the end, well, they proved me wrong and I couldn't be happier. Sometimes when you make arguments like being concerned about the future of the Switch, it's important to acknowledge when and why you were wrong about something. Again, I want to reiterate, I never want any game or console to fail. I just made a bad prediction and I was wrong. The Nintendo Switch is the hottest piece of technology out there right now, with many scrambling just to get their hands on it. In its first week in Japan, the Switch sold all of its first shipment, and that trend is something we've seen continue as the weeks have progressed. Many places in the US are sold out of Switches, and when a new stock of the console arrives in a store, they are almost immediately sold out. There's quite the high demand for the console, seeing as the supply is so low, but this is such a great thing for Nintendo's business. While they struggle for manufacturing parts to keep up with the demand doesn't stop because there are numerous people eager to get their hands on the console. Over 5 million units have already been sold, and that's only after 5 months of the Switch being on the market. To put that number into perspective, in the same time, the Wii, one of the best-selling consoles ever, sold just about that amount of units. After 5 months, the predecessor to the Switch, the Wii U, couldn't even break 5 million units. On the other hand, the PS4, another immensely successful console, sold over that amount, clocking in at 7.5 million units. But the PS4 had a larger shipment size during that time, and it was also released on a different market at a different time for a different audience of people. Needless to say, the Switch is right on track to becoming another financial success for Nintendo, especially if and when the company gets its manufacturing issues sorted out. But how did Nintendo accomplish such a feat? One reason out of many was that the marketing for the Switch has been phenomenal. An often overlooked aspect of marketing is branding, and what I mean by this is finding a logo, name, or sound that invokes a positive emotional response, something that's pleasing to your senses and, more importantly, something you can remember. Nintendo has done amazing branding in the past, like the Mario font, the iconic Zelda font, or even the sound of Link saying The Switch follows in its predecessor's footsteps with better branding than before. You know that plays at the beginning of all Switch trailers? That sound has been perfectly crafted to be short and to the point. It's memorable and something that you can immediately associate with the Switch upon hearing it. Not to mention the logo is distinct and is directly connected to the console itself, giving it that much more value for being recognizable. The console's name is also a brilliant component to its success. See, the term Nintendo Switch has also been expertly produced so that it lends itself well to puns like, let's switch it up or something like that. It's corny, of course, but it gets people to remember the console well. This serves in stark contrast to the Wii U that had a logo similar to its more successful older brother, and no sound, distinctive element, or anything that made it stand out. If you want to create a product and have it be memorable and by extension successful, making sure your branding is impactful is essential. Now let's talk advertisements. One of the tacits of ensuring your product will be exposed to people and hopefully be appealing enough for them to put some money into it. The Switch advertisements have been actually well put together and convey a clear message. Buy the damn console when you find one. Comparing them to Wii U ads, ones that feature annoying children, the Switch ads are more polished and present a clearer view of why the console is so great. Handheld mode and the fact that it can be taken everywhere is often largely emphasized, which you can not only see in the commercials, but also by the way Nintendo constantly promotes this this feature on social media. They know the fact that the Switch is a hybrid of a handheld and a home console is one of its biggest strengths. It's effective and realistic. I caught myself bringing this bad boy to the airport last June when I went to Disney because I knew I'd have time to kill and playing Zelda was the best way to do it. Nintendo capitalized on this feature as opposed to ignoring it and focusing on HD Rumble like I feared. They haven't even really brought up that niche aspect of the Switch because I think they know HD Rumble isn't going to be a system seller. Don't get me wrong, it's actually somewhat neat that you can turn your Joy-Con into a vibrator. Another good use for the console I don't see Nintendo try to advertise at all for some reason. Anyways, now that the Switch is out, the lineup of games Nintendo has for the future is quite stellar and exciting. Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Mario & Rabbids, which is already out, I'm sorry, this was supposed to go out a little while ago, and a lot more third-party, first-party, and indie installments that would take up the entire video discussing. Unlike the Wii U, the Nintendo Switch does not lack highly anticipated titles. In the Switch's first year, we're getting a fully fleshed out 3D Mario game. If that doesn't just reek success, I don't know what does. The Switch right now also has some great multiplayer and single-player games you can invest a lot of time in. It's got something for everyone, which is another point Nintendo has been advertising, this variety of games. Sure, it's not perfect, but look at it this way. You have a fighting game that you can play online or locally in the form of ARMS and Minecraft. You have a large, critically acclaimed open-world Zelda game in the form of Breath of the Wild. You have the best kart racing experience for online, local, and single-player play in the form of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You have a fun shooter game in the form of Splatoon 2, and of course, you got the system seller, 1-2-Switch. Even for non-exclusives, Nintendo has the benefit of marketing those third-party games as having the extra benefit of being able to play them anywhere you want, on the go, on the toilet, or anywhere else. Finally, you can play a Sonic game in the comfort of your nearest porta potty in the form of Sonic Mania. The Switch has a great offering of games right now that you can sink a lot of time in, especially if you miss some games by not picking up the Wii U. This is where Nintendo's strategy of game releases really shines. Ports are ports are ports, but it's worked for Nintendo if the success of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is anything to go off of. Nintendo's commitment to first-party titles in the future also keeps people from being negative and spelling doom for the console. You'd be hard-pressed to argue that Metroid Prime 4 and a Pokemon game for the Switch are bad ways to give Switch owners hope for 2018. It is the consistency of Nintendo's release calendar that has paved the way for the success of its hardware as well as the aforementioned good marketing and branding. The Switch's success didn't depend on one thing, it was a combination of all these things. Not to mention, having such a low supply was convenient for Nintendo to have a higher demand and more customers. Plus, their well-received E3 2017 presentation, new announcements, smart collaborations with other developers and companies like the Mario & Rabbids game, good timing for the release of the console, and well-cultivated hype has only accentuated the console's subsequent success. Yes, I was wrong in thinking Nintendo wouldn't learn their lessons from the Wii U, but I'm happy I was wrong. Now Nintendo is back on track after the failure of the Wii U and will probably have some more fun games as a result. This is why I never hope for any company to fail, regardless of their actions. Bottom line is that everyone has the potential to improve, and in Nintendo's case, to give us fun experiences that we can escape to. Breath of the Wild was such a great time. It was an engrossing distraction into the world of Hyrule. ARMS was a game that my friends ask to play whenever they come over because it's surprisingly really fun and engaging gameplay-wise. I've had fun with my Switch so far, and this is only after not even half a year. With sales going up and up and up, it'll only incentivize more game releases to be on this piece of hardware. We'll all reap the rewards, and again, I'm so happy this is the case. Hopefully, I stay wrong though, right? As always, if you disagree or agree with me, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. Have a wonderful day, and goodbye.